My name is Osgood Perkins, and I'm the writer and the director. Longlegs is a serial killer thriller in the vein of Silence of the Lambs and Seven, in which a young FBI agent played by Maika Monroe is tasked with finding out how this particular serial killer, Longlegs, played by Nicolas Cage, operates, as he seems to murder families or have families murder themselves without ever actually being in the houses. The movie takes place in 1974 when our protagonist is 9, and in 1993 when our protagonist is Maika Monroe. And the idea being that a formative experience that she had when she was 9 in 1974 is what sort of informs and impacts and propels the entire storyline. The idea came from Silence of the Lambs and sort of wanting to do something that felt like that. It feels like a long time since there's been that kind of movie done as well as that movie was. And this movie really does have kind of everything in it when it comes to sort of expectations of the genre. There's an axe massacre, there's a serial killer, there's the devil, there's the FBI, there's all kinds of stuff. So it really has a sort of milkshake quality of having everything in it. And so I think, it starts with the great ones, which are Silence of the Lambs and Seven, but incorporates a lot of sort of 70s feeling movies also, like Don't Look Now is always one that I'm always thinking about, and I suppose Carrie. The character was always sort of gauzy to me. Like a lot of the way he's written, especially in the early scenes, is we don't really see him. And the idea is that he's this really elemental part of Lee's childhood and memory, but that she can't see that. And so for me, a lot of it was sort of, he was always kind of a vague energy. He was always wore white and was always pale and was never sort of a dark specter of death, but sort of more of a weird kind of dirty angel. And so I didn't know who would embody it, and when it became Nicolas Cage, it became Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, in this case, unrecognizable, and that was something that Nick and I wanted to do from the very beginning, and he really wanted to sort of go there. He really liked my movies, and he really liked the ideas I had for this part, and we went pretty far. Maika, she's incredibly intelligent. She's very sensitive to the words written on the page. She has a lot of input as to what her character says and what order her character says things. She's also very spontaneous in that I never need to rehearse with her. And when she does something on camera, she always says that she didn't know she was going to do it. And so certain people have that sort of instrument quality where something is playing them, or they are playing themselves as an instrument it's uncanny. And I think what's great for Maika in this movie is that her character has real agency, and her character has real propulsion, and she's the one in pursuit, and she's the one figuring stuff out. She's had a beautiful career so far where it's been a little bit the other side of things. Not Scream Queen, but in It Follows, she's being followed, and The Watcher, she's being watched. But in this, she's the eyes, she's the protagonist, she's the follower and the watcher. Alicia is very passionate, very connected, very present, very emotive person who you can see gets very deep into what she's doing. When she was in her demonic state, her face changed. And I experienced that in Black Coat's Daughter too with Kiernan Shipka. The same kind of thing happened, and I don't really know how they do that. But no prosthetic is applied to do that. It's just they go so kind of into what they're doing that their actual physicality somehow changes. So she was, she's a miracle. Blair Underwood plays Agent Carter, who is Lee Harker's superior and the guy who's kind of been on the case and has nothing, like can't get it. He's the Scott Glenn in Silence of the Lambs to Jodie Foster's Clarice Starling, and that dynamic was the dynamic that I wanted to sort of build out a little bit. The first day that he came to us, we were in the dark, in the rain, in a barn with Maika. On the day that they go out to the Camera family farm and they shine their flashlights around, they go into this pitch dark barn and they go on the floor and they find the thing and they open the thing and they find the doll. And he really just had to jump right into what we were doing, and he jumped right into what we were doing. And on every take, there's this thing, he opens this cardboard box to reveal this doll inside. And it's the first time we've seen any of the dolls, and it's the first time Blair Underwood has seen any of the dolls. It's the first time we've done any of this stuff. And on the first take, and on every take afterwards, he did this thing where he took the cardboard box top off, and he reacted to the doll, and then he looked at Lee, and then he flipped the box top in his hand and put it aside. And on take two, flipped the box top on the side, flipped the box top on the side. And it was so sexy and suave, and like, I don't know if he was ever sexiest man alive or sexiest man on TV or any of those things, but he should have been, and he probably was. So charming, so cool, so strong and present, and just so graceful. And it's just like, I believe him 3,000% as this guy, and he's fantastic.
My name is Maika, and I play Lee Harker. Lee is a young FBI agent. She's very ultra aware of her surroundings and what makes her, that's what makes her a great FBI agent and why she's put on this case. I feel like there's something sort of bubbling up in her, this sort of unexplained need to find this killer, and also a lot of her memories, since there's a lot of trauma, and with trauma you suppress and you push it down. A lot of that is starting to come to the surface, and I think certain memories and flashbacks are sort of taking over, which is reminding her of that there's a familiarity with this killer that she's trying to find, and she's not sure why. And so I think not only is she trying to solve this case and find answers, but I think she's trying to find answers within her own life that are missing. He's a very terrifying serial killer that there may or may not be supernatural in effect here, but he worships Satan and creates these beautifully terrifying dolls. I read this script maybe the fastest I've ever read any script. So I was like, I have to know what happens, and I also love great twists. And this has some really fun twists. There's so many times with scripts that I'm sent this, like, you meet the character and they're sort of innocent and naive, and then they become this like super tough, badass character. But I think that there's something innately in Lee. She's been through a lot in her life, and she carries a lot with her. Yes, through this film, she goes through a lot, but I think there's, just sort of this innate toughness and groundedness I really loved. Alicia's amazing. She just puts it all out there. I just feel like I've known her for a lot longer than I have, which is interesting. He's great. I feel like our characters go really nice together because he's very charming and funny, and adds sort of this lightness to this pretty dark movie. And my character is very dry and sort of just not really wanting to socialize or talk to anyone if she doesn't have to. And I think there's a really nice dynamic between the two of them. And he's just he was making me laugh, which is nice on this dark movie set to just have a little bit of lightness. So that's good. He really is just such a bright light, and he's also such an amazing collaborator. Just because I've put a lot of work into this, and I have very specific ideas of Lee, and he's open to hearing it all, and he loves what I've brought, and it's just very open to changes or little things that work better for me or make more sense to me, and that's that's the best in a director. You get those feelings on set sometimes, and I feel like we're making something special. I think it's incredibly entertaining, and but also really grounded and really fucking scary, and I think Nick is just gonna blow people away. And then, of course, what happens in the end, everything that you thought that you knew completely is shattered.
My name is Blair Underwood. I play Agent Carter, FBI agent. Agent Carter is a man who's former military, been in the force quite a few years. He's a happily married man, so he has a wife at home and a young daughter who's about to turn 9 years old, Ruby. Suffice to say, he's a very professional, by the books kind of man who has seen quite a lot in the field over his years, and trying to piece together this whole situation that he's faced with right now, with the situation with Longlegs. When we first meet them, it's their first time meeting each other. So it's a very new relationship. You know, he's a seasoned FBI agent. She's relatively new to the force. He's a mentor type character to her. I think he probably sees some of himself in her in terms of a young agent, when he was a young agent, an eagerness, a passion that I think he may have lost. And he pushes her, you know, as they proceed to try to decipher this case. He learns very quickly that she has a very intuitive sense that he trusts, because she's been right quite often. She's got a sixth and seventh and eighth sense, probably. At this point when they first meet, I don't know, and the audience doesn't know if it's more than that. And that's part of the mystery that Carter and we're all trying to decipher, but Carter especially, because he works very closely with her. He is her boss, and he's trying to not only figure out the overall case, but figure out who she is and what she might know above and beyond what she thinks and feels. She herself, as an actress, is very intuitive. So it's nice when an actor brings that sense of understanding to the character. Maika, I can tell off the bat, she's got an ease about her. You know, she's not uptight about anything, and I see that she does have an instinct for, you know, who her character is. So it's really great, you know, playing two people who are just getting to know each other, because we as actors are just getting to know each other and feeling each other out. What I liked about it was it has elements of a lot of different films we've seen, or types of films we've seen. Of course, Silence of the Lambs, and that is very intentional. I was talking to Oz about it the other night, and he wants people to see that parallel of, you know, just a serial killer of sorts, an FBI agent, a young female protagonist. But then you got elements that are somewhat supernatural. You know, you have the doll dynamic, which is a whole genre of films now, dolls and supernatural and psychological thriller and horror. He's combined all of that, I think, seamlessly. But also, you know, the character. You know, I always like a character that is has some unexpected dynamics at play. What I find scary about Longlegs is the crux of the mystery of this. We know that there are fathers who are killing their families, and we don't and cannot understand why and how it's happening. And then when the story starts to lean towards the fact that, of course, Longlegs has something to do with it, how he's doing it is what makes it scary, is what makes it unnerving. What would force a father to kill his family? What kind of forces are at play that seep into a mindset, into a spirit that possesses that person to make them do it? That's what makes it scary. Jaws is real easy going. When you're great at what you do, you have an ease to yourself. There's a confidence, and in his case, a humility, which is great. And it's always refreshing to see, to work with. And you know, you come on a set, and long before you even get to the actual set, you know, hair and makeup, whatever else, whatever else. So everybody's kind of talking about, you know, they've been shooting for 2 weeks before I came on board. So everybody's talking about, you know, what Oz is like or what the cast is like. But everybody said, no, he's funny. Comes up a lot. He's funny. He's clear, and he's a good guy. And he sees people. He sees other people on the set, you know, as collaborators in the telling of the story. I think audiences will love this film because if you love this genre of film, if you like horror, suspense, thriller, psychological, or otherwise, you will love this film because you have a little bit of everything in it.
I'm Alicia Witt, and I play Ruth. Who Ruth is changes She starts out as a mother who is raising her little girl, Lee. She's obviously not got the easiest life, but she's making it work. She loves her daughter more than anything in the whole world, and she will do anything for her. Ruth has an encounter with a very disturbing individual known as Longlegs, and she makes decisions that I don't know. I had to think what would allow her to make those decisions. In some ways, she's incredibly strong, and in some ways, she really allows the darkest forces on Earth to penetrate into her soul. And I think there's something very interesting about why a person would let those energies in. Ruth wants Lee to live. She wants her to grow up. And Longlegs comes along and threatens her very existence. My thinking is that Ruth at first is willing to simply do whatever this madman tells her must be done so that he won't kill her daughter. And then as time goes on, I think Ruth becomes much more deeply enmeshed to where she's enjoying it, and she believes what Longlegs believes as well. He's so very committed. He's someone you can't take your eyes off of anyway. Whether he were a movie star or not, I think he just has that presence, as some people do. And Longlegs is somebody you also can't take your eyes off of for other reasons, but there's a charisma about Longlegs, which is ultimately how Ruth gets pulled in, and the way that Nick has been able to take every character he plays and make them, without question, feel like that's really who he is. But they're also different from each other. That's a quality he has that he's obviously bringing to this role. So you're going to watch it and probably, because of the makeup and the prosthetics, lose yourself in the character you're seeing and forget at a certain point that you're watching Nick Cage. I hope that audiences are going to find this to be the best kind of thriller, the kind that makes them think, and the kind that reminds them of situations in their own lives, even though this is such a specific and terrifying story. But I hope it feels weirdly familiar to them as well. It should hopefully remind them of memories that are buried deep in their psyche from being children, and of the worst nightmare that you could imagine. The feeling that you're going to be so relieved when you walk out of the movie theater or stop streaming this, and when you realize it didn't really happen. But there's lots about it that is going to feel like it could happen, even though it is so extraordinary. I also think the end is really clever, and I think the end is going to leave people talking and speculating amongst themselves as to what happened.
Do you still say your prayers? I never said my prayers, never once. They scared me.
Is it scary being a lady FBI agent?
Yeah.
Take a nice long look. A letter was left with the bodies. Signed with one word.
I saw a beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns. And on his horns he wore 10 crowns. And on each head was written the blasphemous name.
What aren't you telling me?
He'll kill and kill again.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark.
Do you still say your prayers?
Number ones, they scared me. Hello?
You could have made nice with me. But you didn't. And that has led to all